Okay, so I'm going to talk about outcomes today. So I do stuff in the sales section, so I'm going to talk about outcomes and what do you have to give up in order to get what it is that you want. So basically I started, back in 2001, I went to a seminar and the keynote speaker got up and spoke about customer service and sales. And I was so inspired by what he talked about. He basically said that, in regards to customer service and he basically said that price wasn't important. It doesn't really matter how much something is, it only matters what the service is and the value is that they get behind that price. And so inspired was I from listening to his speech, because I was going to be a travel agent at the time. And it was at a time when in the travel industry they were thinking about putting service fees on for a travel agent. So you booked your holiday, but then maybe the travel agent charged an extra $150 for all the work that they did. And so he was explaining to us that, ways past that fee would be, instead of writing what all the different sales are and discounted trips and all sorts of things and put on the front window, just put a big sheet and list 10 things as to why you would book yourself through a travel agent. What is it that a travel agent does? And when people walk past and go, oh, now I know why I have to book a travel agent. He said, and you'd be surprised that fee won't be a problem anymore, or having to explain that fee, or if they see it on the itinerary list or the quote list and they see that fee, then you can just refer it back to the front window and it wouldn't be a problem. Now, so inspired was I from his speech that I thought, right, that's it, I'm going to go out and I'm going to teach customer service and sales to the world. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So from 2001 up until the end of 2012, I've been studying sales. I've worked in a number of different sales industries. So I've been a barmaid and waitress for 10 years. I've sold furniture and computers. I've worked at call centres, worked for government, petrol stations, like everywhere. Jewellery shops, record shops. I've worked everywhere. Yeah, and I study sales a lot, so add-on sales and how to get different techniques to work. And I don't just go by what's in the book. I try the stuff. I suggest to other people. I get them to try it. And I've always gone out. When I worked at Fantastic Furniture, they used to get me to go to the new stores, like the Bathurst store, and inspire the staff to sort of get up and sell, and Nowra to sort of get them to start selling more stuff. I was the expert at selling. I became the expert at selling the delivery fees. When I started Fantastic Furniture, I was in Wagga, and the delivery fee I couldn't sell. I didn't really believe in it. I worked at a store where one of the lounges would be $200. It would sell, the delivery fee would be $40. And I just thought, there's no way in the world I'm charging someone $40 to deliver their lounge when they've only spent $200 on it. And but basically that was part of my job. Part of my job was to sell delivery fee as well and to get it delivered. And so what I had to do was I had to hunt down the person that sold a lot of delivery and find out how they did it so that then they could teach me how to do it myself. And this particular person said to me, well, with the delivery fee, what they get is somebody carrying that into their house. So they don't have to get a car, they don't have to hire a trailer, get a friend, take time out of their day. It gets delivered. Because it's on the back of our truck, it's completely insured. So if something happens to it, gets damaged on the way, it's insured. The delivery guy puts it in the house, he unbags it, he takes all the garbage away. The delivery fee to go out of town, so from Wagga we'd deliver as far out as Griffith. Now to get a furniture package out to Griffith, it was or a lounge, up to $200. Well, there's no way in the world I'm charging $200 when the lounge only costs $199. But again, it would take an entire day. Someone would have to hire a ute, get a friend, drive all the way out. Then you've got the petrol and everything else, get the furniture back. Once that was all explained to me, well, delivery became the easiest thing to sell, because now that I knew, I lived in Hay and I used to drive an hour and a half to go across to Griffith, just to buy a couple of DVDs or something. I, at times, went to buy furniture and it was so difficult to get it back. I've discovered, that's so convenient to have to pay for a service that just does all of that for me and I don't have to worry about it. So I've had a lot of training in regards to the whole sales thing, and from there, so up until 2012, what I didn't have training on was how to become a motivational speaker. So I had stuff to talk about and I knew that I could talk to people and inspire them, but I didn't know how to access the customers to stand in front of people to do this. So it was in 2012, after I had my second baby, I was at another seminar. It was a sleep seminar, and the guy that got up to speak, he he was so inspirational about what he was speaking about that I thought, wow, see, I could be you. That's right. I sort of twigged that. So on and off for a number of years, for 11 years, I was going through this whole start the sales thing, retry it again, fail, retry again. And then when I heard this guy speak, I thought, see, I could be you. So I went back straight away and I went back to work and I Googled the company, Googled the guy and discovered he was the owner of the company. Okay, he's probably not going to let me take on his gig. But he also had a list of the people that he hires in his company. And when I went through the list, one of them came up as life coaching. And while I didn't know what that was, I thought everything that I've Googled in regards to motivational speaking and keynote speaking, and it's never really worked for me. Like I couldn't find any great information. So I thought I'll just look up life coaching. I'm sure that that's not really for me. And when I went through life coaching stuff on the internet, I discovered a school which I went through to do a diploma in life coaching down in Melbourne. You do a lot of it here, but you do some face-to-face stuff and webinars and things. Anyhow, so I did that for a year and a half, and what I learned from that was a new way to communicate and to get ideas across and to inspire people and to get people to come up with their own ways of coming forward. So I learned how to facilitate a conversation where I would ask questions, but you would come up with the solutions, and then we'd come up with the best solution for where to move forward. So after a year and a half of doing general life coaching, I put it all back into sales. So at the beginning of this year, I put everything back into sales because that's really where I want to be with that. So this is about knowing your outcome. So now, after all this time, my outcome has always been to be a motivational speaker and to inspire people. Even if it's a motivational speaker, if I just sit down and have a coffee with you, to inspire people to sort of find different ways to get the stuff done, not worry about the price, and just know that what you do is so good that someone needs that, and everybody needs that, and how to get your message across to sort of help other people out. What I've discovered from knowing your outcome, so a lot of people that I speak to, they don't necessarily know of their outcomes. They haven't put in place the outcome of what it is that they want to do. So they're a bit fluffy with their outcome. As a result, their results are a bit fluffy. But part of knowing your outcome, of knowing what you want, you also have to know what is it that you are going to give up in order to get what you want. So we can all say, in sales or in networking, we're all going to turn up, we're going to do our 60 seconds and we're going to talk to people and have our, look for referrals and try and find out what it is that we want. So we all have a general idea of what we want out of a networking group or what we want out of our business, but if we're not really clear about that, then maybe we've got nothing to sort of gauge our results on. Okay, I know that I must keep turning up, say to networking, but my results aren't where they need to be, and if you don't know your exact outcome of what you're after, which might be, say, between now and June, let's say, so for the next 8 months, maybe you want 20 referrals. But if you haven't specifically stated, I want 20 referrals between now and then, well, how are you going to break it down to get that actual goal? So over 8 months, that would be 2.5 referrals a month. So to break things down and make it really simple, 2.5 referrals a month, great. Well, how many people do I have to speak to obtain that? Or what do I need to say to sort of get that? The other thing though is, so if you break it down to know what your exact outcome is what are you prepared to do to get that outcome? So if you break it down to, okay, I need 2.5 referrals a month to hit 20 for June of next year, what am I prepared to do to get those 2.5 referrals a month? How many people do I need to speak to? And if I'm not getting a referral from the people that I've sat down and spoken to, what am I not saying that they didn't understand to then go out and look for what it is that I need? Or what is it that I am not doing to help them so that they can help me? So again, part of it is, so if you know what your outcome is and what it is that you need to be doing, also, you can't fit everything into life, so you also have to know is how much do you want it and what are you prepared to give up? Now I'm going to give me as an example. Everybody laughs when I say I get up at 4:30 in the morning. How do you have time? You've got a family, 2 little kids and a husband, and you work a full-time job, and you come out and you network, and you have coffees with people, and you are running around doing all of this stuff. How do you have time? And I said, well, I get up at 4:30. And my new 4:30 is 10 to 4. In order to get things done. I know, and everybody laughs, right? But what am I prepared to give up? So so from 2001 to 2014, I've been trying to crack the code. And I haven't quite done it yet. So what am I prepared to give up in order to do this? Part of it becomes, for me, part of it is sleep. You know what? I can sleep later, but for the next 8 months, there's things that I don't have time during the day. So after 7 o'clock in the morning, the world has woken up and it's just full of stuff. So I need to get done in the morning the stuff that I don't get done during the day. And at night, I put my little ones to bed, and because I'm teaching them to sleep, I fall asleep with them. And then I get back up to spend time with my husband, and I'm not switched on at the end of the day. So for me, sleep in the morning, I'm prepared to give up. I catch up on it later when I need it. But that's what I'm prepared to give up, is some of my sleep in the morning, or the sleep-ins. It's only for 8 months to see what sort of results I get for the next 8 months. For the next 8 months too, I'm giving up birthdays and Christmas and family functions and anything that's outside of networking. Now, again, it's 8 months, and this is for me personally, but for 13 years, I've been trying to crack the code and it hasn't happened yet. So my journey has been since 2001 to get me to here. So it seems like I do things that seem really funny, but that's me and what am I going to give up in order to get what I want? Because I want to be world class at this whole inspiration thing around sales come June of next year. My accountant said to me, 20 grand, Misty, that's all you need to make by the end of June next year. Don't come up with all these grand schemes, 20 grand. And he broke it down to something simple. Now at the time I'm sitting there going, 20 grand? Okay, if I work that out, that's 20 clients at 1,000 each. Now I sit down, I speak to hundreds of people. So, okay, so at 1,000 each, what would that be? That would be 4 one-to-one sessions, personal sessions on moving them forward in their business. Or it might be networking workshops. So that would be maybe 20 to 30 networking workshops. So with 10 to 15 people at those. So I have to do 20 workshops. I have to do one destination event. So I talk to Alex and sort out one destination event and have 10 people go to Kuala Lumpur with me and I teach them sales. Or it might be 40 keynote speaks, between now and then. So that's really working out each little section of what I need to get the outcome that I'm after. So, and it comes down to this. Basically, you can look forward to, you can have the outcome in your mind sort of a bit fluffy, however it is at the moment. Heading from, and I don't suggest do some big thing over the next this many years, but say for the next 8 months, look at the next 8 months, the next end of the financial year, and have a think. If you don't change any of the ways that you currently do things, I can predict for you the next 8 months will look like the last 8 months. Your results for the next 8 months will be the same as the results for the last 8 months. But if you want to just change one little thing or tweak it a little bit or think, maybe I'll be a little bit more specific as to who I want a referral from, or how many referrals I want per month, or what I really want for my business or out of a networking event. Or if you look into that and then come up with a couple of little answers from there, maybe start to speak to a few people that might be able to push you in that right direction, you'll find that the next 8 months will be different to the last 8 months, and your results moving forward will be greater than the results that you've had in the last 8 months. And so that's your outcomes, how to get outcomes and look for what you need.
She is an inspiration, and I do suggest that every single person sit down and have a coffee with her, and I tell you what, they'll be out networking in no time at all. You'll be doing it.
We'd be game enough not to.
That's right. Now, next we have